So Grigor, Dimitrov, and Davidovich Fokina, they're facing off in the first round of the Italian Open. Now Dimitrov, he hasn't really, he had the great start. Sorry about that. He had a great start to the season. He reached the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. He lost to Karatsev in 4-7, but still didn't drop a set on the way and defeated some memorable opponents along the way. Sorry about that again. He also reached the quarterfinals of Acapulco, lost to Musetti, which wasn't the best result because Musetti isn't really a player that I guess that a player of Dimitrov's caliber should have lost to, but still was a good little run. And then Monte Carlo started with a good couple wins, but he had a disastrous loss to Rafa. He only won 2 games. And he claimed that he had a tooth problem that prevented him from playing at his highest level. And in Madrid, he got upset by Lloyd Harris, so he's going to have to pick up some form because Davidovich Fokina is playing extremely well now. So he's going to have to really pick up some form if he wants to be able to win this. Now, Davidovich Fokina didn't drop a set in qualifying, and he's played well. He took Daniil Medvedev to 3 sets in Madrid. He also reached the semifinals of the Estoril Open. He reached the quarterfinals of Monte Carlo. He's done pretty well this year. He's had some good runs. And he also reached the final of the Open de France. So this year he's having a pretty good year. And he can definitely upset some players when he's on song because he's a great young player and he's at his best on the clay. So he's going to have to watch out Dimitrov because Dimitrov is not in his best form. Now, Dimitrov and Davidovich Fokina have never met, so they have a 0-0 head-to-head. So I think that Dimitrov will still win. I think that while he isn't in his best form, I think Dimitrov can still win. I think while he can be erratic sometimes and play 1-1 trying to lose another, I think he will get the win here because he did well last year in the quarterfinal. I think he want to back that up. So I'm predicting a tight, straight set win for Grigor Dimitrov. So John Millman and Dusan Lavish, they're facing off in the first round of the Italian Open. Now Millman this year, it's weird because he isn't really as great on the clay, but the clay has kind of provided him a little bit of a fresh start. He was in disastrous form in the early year. He was, I think, on a 5-match or 6-match losing streak at a point, but he was able to reverse that trend actually on the clay courts in Sardinia. He beat Coria in the first round. So he reversed that trend on the clay courts, and he's getting back into a little bit of form because I guess he's making his good counter-punching game work in that on the clay court. So that's a good sign. He also was able to beat Hubert Hurkacz for a great win for Millman. So he's looking like he's gradually getting back some form. Now, Lavish has also not been so great in 2021. In the beginning of the year, he was extremely good with the 4th round appearance of the Australian Open and the win over Daniil Medvedev in Rotterdam. But other than that, he's kind of fizzled out because on the clay courts, he lost early in Monte Carlo, which dipped his ranking down out of the top 30. And he lost early in his home Serbia. He lost early in Munich. And he also lost early in Madrid. So he'll want to reverse that trend, but it's going to be tough against a Millman who is a resurgent Millman who is getting back gradually to his form. Now, Millman and Lavish, they've met once on tour. Lavish has the head-to-head win. They met in Istanbul, and Lavish beat Millman for the loss of only 4 games on the clay courts. So my prediction here, I think that Millman is going to win this. I think that he will win because Lavish isn't in great form. And I think that while Millman isn't in his best form either, I think he's a cut over Lavish right now. So as a result, I'm going to pick Millman to win this. I think it's going to be a tough 3-set grind, but I think it's going to be Millman for the win. So Millman in 3 sets seems good to me. So Roberto Bautista and Tommy Paul, they're facing off in the first round of the Italian Open. Now Bautista this year, he's had a year of highs and lows. He did do well on the hard courts, reached a semifinal appearance at the Miami Open, finals appearance in Doha, and also a finals appearance at the Open de France. He had a good year. On the clay courts, he was also able to have some good sort of form. He pushed Rublev to 3 sets in Monte Carlo, but it wasn't as good because he did lose early in Barcelona to Yannick Sinner, who he hasn't been able to beat yet, and also lost early in Madrid to John Isner, a player and he had a match point against Isner. So he wouldn't have been too happy because Isner isn't as good on the clay court, so it would have been a little disappointing for him to lose a little early there. Now, Tommy Paul also hasn't had the best season, but he has had some good clay court wins. He did take a set of Andrei Rublev in Madrid. He also was able to do well in the qualifying in Italy. He won both of his qualifying matches. One of them was against an experienced campaigner in Montero, who is a great clay court player, and he also beat Londero. So he beat some good quality clay court players. So he'll be happy with that, and he'll be confident because Bautista again isn't really as great on the clay. So he'll be confident that maybe he can spring an upset. Now, they have met once, and Bautista again won that one. That was in Monte Carlo earlier this year, and Bautista again won that one 6-3, 6-4. So I think that Bautista again will still win. I think that he has the head-to-head advantage. I think that he's way more experienced than Paul at this level. And Paul hasn't really been able to transfer his junior success on the clay to the main tour. So I'm going to pick Bautista again to win it in 2 tight sets. Now, Burettini and Basilashvili, they're facing off in the first round of the Italian Open. Now, Burettini has had a really great year. I would say he's even a little bit underrated because he has had some really deep runs in tournaments this year. He had a quarterfinal appearance in Antalya, a finals appearance in the ATP Cup, a 4th round appearance in the Australian Open, and he also had a final. He won the Serbia Open, transferred his group form on the clay courts, and in Madrid he made the final, lost his Zverev. So he has had a great year. I feel like people are underrating him a bit. They're not giving him enough credit because he has had a really great year. But also the question will be, is he going to be fit enough for this match? Because Basilashvili is a great player when he's on song, and he's just traveling from Madrid, so he may lose early. So that's the question here. Can he sustain that good form from Madrid over to Italy? Now, Basilashvili has had also a year of highs and lows. He was on a bad losing streak this year early on, but he managed to do well, and he was able to win the title in Munich and also win a title in Doha. So one on the hard courts, one on the clay courts. So good for him. Made also a semis in the Sardinia Open. He lost to Jera, only winning 2 games, but he's had some decent wins, I would say. So he's not the worst year for Basilashvili. He's been able to have some deep runs, but with some bad results. So mixed results for him. Now, they have met 3 times, and Burettini leads 2-1, the head-to-head. They met in Halle in 2019. Burettini won that one 6-4, 6-4. On the clay court, Basilashvili won that one 7-6, 6-4. And on the hard court in 2018, Burettini won that one in straight sets. In a qualifying event back in 2014, Basilashvili won it in straight sets, 2 tight sets, 7-5, 7-6. So my prediction, I think that Burettini will win this. I think that even though Basilashvili is a great player, and even though Burettini may be coming from a Madrid Madrid final appearance, may be tired, I think Burettini has enough power to win this because I think that he will have the crowd support, and plus he also has the head-to-head advantage. So I think that will be enough to get Burettini over the line. Burettini in straight sets is my pick here.